couldn't be more during that time.
The youth applauded the opportunity, saying it time.
Kwenye tunadili nao tunatengeza out of plastic waste. Tumetumia 8 kutengeza 3D printing filaments. Tunatumia kuprint kwa wanafunzi katika mashule within Mombasa.
We don't use plastics to make the game, but change behavior of people around plastics as it produces in the first place.
The Management University is now committed to enhancing its academic, boosting its programs. This comes granted them a charter. Speaking, Vice Chancellor of MOA, Professor Washington O'Kelly, more programs are set to be 2 to 3 months in a bid to attract more. The program is expected to double the number, 6,000 to 10,000 in.
At increasing the number of academics, we only have 9, and they are here in this chart B. To increase this, and already we have applied to the 3 programs, which next a few months develop 7, which the Senate has.
Let us now strive to make MUA in training, not just in Kenya. Let us go beyond planners and vision.
Police are investigating an incident. A businesswoman was found murdered in Murray County. Residents were shot by the body of Elizabeth Anyango Odhiambo, a stab wound on her neck.
Tragedy struck the Chamgi after a 43-year-old Anyango Odhiambo was found. Her relatives met the grim. Tragic event has plunged the community in concerns about the safety of residents.
Kuna ujumbe yote kuhusu hili jambo tupate hiyo.
To the assessment, they were wrangling. The person who did that. Assessment of the place.
With authorities to intensify efforts in security of the area.
As a people asking the government to do the due diligence of the cause of as a people, we will really want to know that.
Bishop Eliud Bukala Valley and the neighboring counties to participate.
Please embrace peace. These good things that our give us. Embrace the idea of talking to each other. That's
Turkana County Assembly Majority Whip will has called on the national government Turkana South region, especially
the police wa hapa Katilu patrol kama hawana gari mpaka wapige simu gari ya local kukiwa na kutoka huko hata usiku kufanya patrol. Itachukua muda gani tusike watu wangapi? Itachukua muda gani wapiga sikwe ndio tuandikie NPR?
Of the late Joseph Lokemer, bandits from neighboring counties herding his livestock.
Timothy. Now, a look at news making headlines. Action of youth and residents in Nairobi County have benefited from clinics drawn from different hospitals. The was conducted after health stakeholders conducted a mental wellness work. Elsewhere, young people causes since they offer practice in the job markets. This and more.
Kasarani constituency now from free medical check drawn from different hospitals. The checkup followed drug abuse sensitization.
So many people are abusing drugs, coping mechanism. When, especially now that people have a lot of
this work, it's because of young people who are struggling with drugs and substance abuse.
In Teso South, Emase has urged the youth in the region education and training team in order to acquire practical skills to market demands. Elsewhere, Casio Middle East has opened its second store in looks to tap into the ever-growing watches country.
We think that Kenya first growing the market. Now that the generation is here, and we think that this is the best location for.
Chache North legislator Japheth said the ongoing evacuations of Kenyans, those residing in riparian areas.
Also be very vigilant, so there are reigns where the students are going to way on how we are going to take our skills, and let us make sure for the small kids, as parents, take responsibility directly to schools.
And finally, a women's community has embraced synth to make charcoal briquettes. The group says that the initiative will for firewood and wood charcoal burning.
Moja unakuta lori Masule, na hiyo lori ukikata kwa miaka moja itaisha.
A look at sports now, where Kenya has proved its capability of having successfully hosted school cross-country championships at the head of state affirmed this during the back the overall title. Ramwange with more.
Kenya were the defending champions after all events except the under-12 boys category won to finish at the Ngong. Jen Wangari and Peter Lomoran sweep in the under-15 girls and boys category. International Schools Federation World Cross. Wangari outsprinted the rest in 100 meters race as Kenya scooped a
race yangu yasikia leo na naendelea.
Kenya to 1-2-3 finish boys race in 10 minutes 18.6 by Benson Tipapa, while Dana Chepkemoi emerged the 400 meters girls under 18 category, coach leading Kenya to another podium finish 100 meters race. Chepkemoi minutes 47.8 seconds. Okay, while Dorcas Chepkemoi competed in 10 minutes 53.4 seconds. 9 in the boys category in 14 minutes seconds, followed by Kevin Kiprop.
Nilikuwa nimeset mind yangu tangu nishinde. Nilikuwa nimeset mind yangu lazima.
Tena athletes wangu wa camp lemo in advice hili alikuwa ananiongelesha sana, ananiambia
Record. Yeah. Na pia nakimbia 15.
60 athletes from 19 countries championship, with Kenya fielding a contingent. President William Ruto, dignitaries in gracing the international nation, was delighted to host the rest of the world in other events, notably the Classic, the World Rally Championship events.
Welcome to Nairobi. To all those who, congratulations. To those who are, to those who participate, didn't participate, those who won. So congratulations to all. Congratulations to all the participants that are, as we celebrate this party.
All the participating teams in the cross-country championship head to Bomas of Kenya to festivity. Kenyan Junior at the 24th edition of Sports Federation Cross Country Race Course here in Nairobi. All the in the under 17, under 15 categories.
Nora Mwangi reporting that in the third position in the F, despite adding 3 points to their defeat of Murang'a Seal in one yesterday. Tusker at 2 points. Second place Kenya Police, who also beat 2-1. Murang'a Seal now with 35 points, a point behind, have moved to the 6th position. 3-0 FC at 2 points. Stars, while Talanta FC are 30 points with only 5 matches left season. Well, that story brings us this morning. Thank you so much for your company. Yambo, my colleague Mike Megwe, our guests in studio. Until again.
Mtazamaji wa runinga unayoipenda.
For the years, we have been at the trends to bring you the best of
how high and out.
Thank you for joining to take your favorite broadcast. KBC channel in the TV Station of the Year category of the Kuza ICT Award. Vote for KBC via SMS 15601 at no cost, or visit kuzaawards.co.ke. Instructions to vote. 1. Kenya's one.
Are you a talented? Are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? Money can be very hard. Artist, don't worry. Nani has got your back. Sign up on a KE to book a session with actors across the country. Singles, spoken words, and to realize your dream. Free Studio Mashinani.
with us. This is Good Morning Kenya. Mike Migu, and welcome to us. And before I even go on my in studio, I'm joined by on my far Honorable Peter Orero.
Yes, Kibra.
Kibra. Oh,
Kibera was the
Kibra MP.
Thank you for inviting me on behalf of Kibra.
And also Mr. Crispus Wathimba, karibu sana.
Niko mzuri sana. Glad the schools have opened.
Yes.
It's a sign of the situation that side.
Yes.
And we are looking forward to. Yes.
All right. Through the front pages of our, I'll start with the daily. Please let Linturi the impeach. This was accusations of the trial against CS for Agriculture Mithika Linturi. A special committee cleared Agriculture's cabinet secretary of any wrongdoing in the scandal fake fertilizer to farmer government subsidy program. A member spoke to the Daily Nation, claimed these were carefully selected to. You will find it on page 8. Another story that is making front page of the fact that multi-agency team, National Police Service and the Safety Authority have been deployed along safety on the roads as learners reporting to school today. That is on the roads as school. That story on page 2 and the Daily. MP for Kibra, of the school infrastructure, your constituency so far.
In our constituency, like the toilets being done, we have given out emergency. A few other schools had subsides. We are ready to the Kibra constituency.
Yeah.
And it is good that the rains now. We are hoping that within the week back to normal for our kids to be a big issue.
Yes.
Because the informal settlement actually depend on school, because that is what can take them out of to other places. The moment all of us become jittery places to go to, some have because they may not afford meals. In school, they are better fed. We have the dish, so they feed when they are in and when they are at home, even in the high school.
Yeah.
Are opening. Last week, I think we were waiting for the meteorological authentic report on what we expect in terms of. I think they gave a good report, and today it is shining, and we hope this week the kids, all the kids, have many day schools within our and we only have 2 boarding schools. School. The rest are day schools and kids to school. We don't have rivers, and I think we.
There have been concerns some parents owing to the safety of the pupils and students, because some schools were by the flood was destroyed. How do you feel Mr. Crispus?
Well, government has said we are talking about the schools who are affected. So that's a 1,500 number of schools that were damaged. They called upon to provide some emergency funds. What I know is that it will be very infrastructure to be restored. I've seen schools were recalled back. So to have that infrastructure back within 5 days, I think it's a top. Some parents who, or some peoples enjoy the full extent of the. We are looking at probably having a school time weeks or 11 weeks, and to lesser time in terms of the curriculum for this term. So that might have. We have some candidates, students who are candidates. That may have an impact on them, and we pray that the parents will work together to find how to compensate for the lost time. But also gone through before, where we had COVID within very short timelines to achieve. We are a country that is resilient.
Be that as it may, there are people lost. No time to save anything, and also that includes some. How should they be handled? Because lost books, uniform, clothing.
Actually, it was a case where a lady was losing all their documents, academic reports, in terms. So we as Kenyans, we really need to. But also the government and especially our students should be able to have some relief or some support of some sort. People who are able to provide, be able to come together and be able to provide. NEC, they should be able to provide the affected cases so that these people, even people who have lost national ID, I'm sure even title deeds have been lost in documentation. So we have a lot of that has been lost from this flood. Cases should be able to intervene and provide the support.
There are schools that have some shelters for people affected by floods, and since school, what level present to the government in as far as, because some of them do not know where does that leave them? The opening of schools is concerned.
That is why, as we had asked for this disaster, so that we could help the other agencies, whether it is the military and all that. So those who are schools, the head of state was a bit short. First, we need a psychologist. All these people, especially those who have lost their, they need to have identified these people will go, especially when the school. And you know, we need to visit them. Visit those schools. You know, we have schools. They have been staying in dorms, and now the kids are coming. We have walks of life. We need to set a system to ensure that this is free or devoid of other diseases. This is where cholera was all out. So we need to take in. These people will be go maybe to churches. How long? Because now this is a directive, but it is also for the interest of Kenya as a whole. So we have community halls. Do we engage the churches, church erect tents for these people to stay? Agencies, do we have ready can come in. I must thank the Red Cross. The government could form an agencies looking at maybe Red Cross, looking at those officials, yes, and with the impact and with the clean records. They don't become subjective. They must be objective within framework. What do committees? So I believe to look at areas where they can take these people. The kids can open the school, yeah, but people who have lost their kids must give support. We must counsel them. We must guide Africans. We need prayers. Pray for them. As normal, yes, in a sense. We are normal life situations. So I believe it's deploying all. Let's look at all the mechanisms to ensure that people who are put in a school.
You've raised a very important aspect in psychosocial support, and these who are going back to school, some have been adversely partly affected, and there are those who have not by floods. Mr. Wathimba, the importance of this psychosocial, in a way, it's going to students learn henceforth.
Appreciate some of the experiences through are very traumatic. You and within your siblings are gone, is gone, or you are probably being head of the river, and within matter of gone. So some of the experiences, some of these are very traumatic, and it's very important we can be able to address the mental well-being. Some of the teachers are also stressed. The parents are also stressed because you've been told to take your child to school. You don't even school. There's no child to school with. So there are a lot of stressing issues that because of what we have gone through these floods. And about it, it's important that be able to address the mental well-being of these people who have been affected to alleviate the situation. Part of it is a resource-based issue because we have lost livelihood, but also the mental well-being. Important we have ways and means to that we can also be strong enough in future we are able to address and deal with it.
It's a matter of creating after the effects of flood. Now let's look at the front newspaper. Gone with the raging waters subside, the toll they took a toll on infrastructure, loss of life and damage to becoming the highest in recent times, while before life. That story is told 4 and 5 of newspaper. It's MPs decide Linturi's culture CS Mithika Linturi will today have his as Parliament votes on whether or not. That story is 6 of this paper. School reality check. Trader attempts in Kisii town yesterday ahead of the second term. That is a photo displayed of the standard. You will find on page 2 the standard newspaper. Young learners' lives, a chilling tragedy. That is a story. An accident of a school bus. A growing statistic of children who using school bus. Food shortage sweep away hope of a bad situation is particularly dividing near the yes, and on page not page 3 of the standard, the aspect of food shortage that by floods. What is your take on this, and how recover from going to handle this aspect of food shortage effects of floods?
We are in a great dilemma. We had hinged our hopes. The subsidy on things like fertilizers to ensure best, but this has been eroded completely within the rains. As a country, having food reserve, we had cereal balls. The idea behind farming that as a farmer you outputs best, the country should have a system. In these circumstances, we have enough maybe to run a country. We have devastating effect. I do not know of the in this country, but Kenya, as I has never had that kind of feed people for that end. It's going to be a critically difficult, because today, as I was waking up, the cost of bread has gone up. It means things in store to sustain the basic life for people. After this, we expect that commodities will essentially need to safeguard our people, the economic setup. The people who are downtrodden, to raise just because we have had a flood weeks or so. This is going to the earnings they are living on. So as a country, what we need to have enough food reserve. Then we do not raise the prices of commodities to the economic growth of this country. So a few months, we are going to have it very, very rapid. Because first, all agricultural inputs have been destroyed. As can no longer grains growing, and depends on farming. The West, the Rift Valley, and all to produce enough food for this country. To import food, do we need to? These are some of the cracking ideas. It must set up a system, the future, a system that will ensure of such events or occurrences. Need as a country be thinking of how we will feed. So in the future, we must have a reserve for agriculture.
What have your views on this?
I'll look at it in this way. Experts told us that above than normal rainfalls will occur. The responsibility of this governments to plan ahead in terms of how secure can post the floods of that. Unfortunately, during that time, when we got fake fertilizer, doctors going on strike. So we did ourselves for what was coming. We were told that there is a possibility of floods, there is a possibility of us having challenges in the month of March and because of the floods. And that is a country where we spend over $3 billion every year. Spare or put aside resources to plan our future or to plan for the circumstances like the one we have gone through. As a country, as we we start being a responsible in terms of our food reserve, come from, how much does it cost, who produces it, so that I have these challenges. Because other countries have gone through, don't have the kind of challenges we go through. Our infrastructure is gone. Some of things we could have avoided. For example, being cut off because of a river. Very well, this river rains. So why would the road agency responsible for building that be able to have built a road which is than the one they built, so that it rise above the normal? That is, the Masinga Dam has been there. The waters are so high, but it gets carried away. But how come our bridges carried away, our culverts are having building resilient infrastructure? We are not part opinion. The politicians need to do their work so that they advise in terms of how this country can be governed. We are not blaming that this government is. Over the years, we have failed to plan. Governments have been devolved now for over years. But are we seeing the value of that devolution? We have responsibility they have in terms of country secure, disaster function. What responsibility do they have? That in the event we have a disaster like and be able to intervene. You saw when they sat there and waited for, they were waiting for the national capacity to mitigate some of these challenges. So we know how we govern our country and how we allocate resources. We as a country can be able to be able to challenge, because they are not. This is not the. But we need to be able to prepare to be ready.
Kibra, it's all these that we have witnessed need to completely over disasters. A new we turn a complete ways that are of how we deal with future disasters.
My opening remarks, that is why I said governmental agencies and Lifeline in a manner that they have some sort of what is called a trust deficit. But when we have, like Red Cross, a unifying agency, private entities like Safari, in many ways. So when we form agencies to look into the future, they see that when we have such, we go, what do we need, how do we go about it? Budgetary implication. When you are doing some budgets, if this, do we have the resources, have the capacity, what input do the counties to make sure that in a they are able to respond a given framework of time. We do not suffer the way we have suffered. When I'm as a devolved function, it is not fully devolved. You see us still impeaching Linturi because it's still completely controlling the evolve, but not devolve. Yes. When we are talking evolve, the national government is still sector. So this devolution, if we are really a devolve units, then let's devolve the saying is that we must plan for this. Not again, maybe in the next 1 year or 2 years, we still run helter-skelter, not knowing. Yes. So this area of must be given serves. Because as a country, it has moved us maybe 10 years back. Property. Yeah. We might not be there again. So for us to move well, to have this department. Yeah. In many countries, in mature democratic countries, you will find that that is when you will realize that you can see now, even like Russia, they have been in a war for Ukraine, but still we are from Russia. We are still depending on capacity within their country. We need, as a Kenyan nation. One is the most, if you were to use, as you are saying, then this country, So I think we need to engage the best brains further. We need to so that we can make our country a better.
And speaking of Linturi, date with destiny. That is a story that 6 of the Standard paper, and also it's also carried on of the Daily Nation. Procurement and distribution of used of incompetence, which has caused food agriculture CS mythically in true with destiny as Parliament impeach him or not. What are your feelings on this matter?
Well, let's make a small. So I don't Linturi in this, because I don't where the minister stands. The job description is about policy and the day-to-day running of the ministry is and the various agencies. How we got and is what we really needed to understand. Really coming out in terms of that matter. As a country, we did not understand the whole saga about fake fertilizer on being which is not a public matter. This is of a private matter. Somebody controlling this narrative, but where fake fertilizer Kenyans and those Kenyans one way or another, and how will they be compensated and for the distribution of that fake fertilizer? Run by various we have the director responsibilities. We have various responsibilities in terms of procurement, who supplied it. We did not feel that. We did not get value for money. How this matter was prosecuted in Parliament, and able to guide us further on what is the way.
Prejudicial to comment on matters that within the courts, but it is within the. One thing, yes, is the head of the ministry. Agencies work under him, the coordinating departments, even the PS under the CS. The premise I used to bring this motion to the floor, and you realize that 69 MPs in of Parliament emphatically that Because he's responsible, although not of the ministry, but he coordinated under him. And it was under the investigation of agriculture, but members of parliament thought time and it of the Kenyans that fake fertilizer and farmers arms. So we of the people of this country votes through us their spokespeople, but majority and some have. So 169 voted for this, and only from both sides of where we had democracy prevail, succeeding other party interest, together and said that it could have been done by. But our constitution, I think the constitution says that select committee. These allegations were unsubstantiated, that the moral obligation to impeach, then they will give him a. And when it comes back to parliament, now we have no authority again to comment on it. It is not as the. We are not going to debate about the 11-member select committee that they are going to bring back. But if these facts were substantial, or we will get involved in impeachment. But I've one of the headers that already hook.
Yeah, it's the story that is on the.
He has been left off the hook.
Yeah.
The 11-member committee voted against the impeachment of Bwana Live. He's like a cat.
Like Wambora.
He has many lives.
Yes.
No, the kind of mind very cool about this matter. Even when he was, you not even know that he is the he's very cool, calm. So that's why I'm like that of a cat. Many lives.
Expected him to be the sole witness.
A case.
Yes.
Yeah, and there. These are some of the people. Many lives to live.
Yes.
So we are. This is a dead case. It is dead and buried. We can't lifetime of this parliament.
Yes.
So it is a.
Yes.
And but we are praying that investigate those who are involved.
Yes.
If we had the serial board who was involved, now they were saying that we had hijacked their department. They need to continue with and see or punish if the CS is not involved. I think that can require from and expect from
Mr. Wadhimba, CS, the first CS in the Kenya Kwanza administration, allegations actually impeachment.
It's very encouraging to see across the divide,
yes,
you know, and voice their concern, performance of the CS.
Yes.
The fact that this government itself,
yes,
in terms of Kenyans are concerned about, in terms of how the cabinet, I mean, in terms of the leadership that we have, organize or reshuffle or to bring in terms of the new leadership to help this government.
Yes.
Right, last year which was seriously challenged. If you look at the headlines today, we still have coming up,
yes,
and also might also challenges. Are we having the right it matters the most. To be able to give. That is the question we need to start ourselves. We might be safe, but is the entire. Are we in safe hands? That's the question.
Yeah. Speaking of finance bill, the page of the Star newspaper is carrying come after your M-Pesa. Taxman will, however, have to compare costs to provide customers. Is carried on page 4 and newspaper. Let me start with you, Mheshimiwa Peter. KRA to come after your M-Pesa.
As a country, when this is one of the system in terms of money transfer country, and by the way, those who invented this, which I think worldwide, in this country, it has transactions to be very easy. So even the lowest person use M-Pesa. And a livelihood now for many jobs. And when KRA now taxing the M-Pesa, I wonder, they are asking the landlords to increase the rents. That is asking the to increase the rents for the it is really a crazy thought of we will future as a country that is going to and everybody.
Yes.
That world over, if any, has ever developed because yeah, it is like in trough and you want to lift yourself with you can never lift yourself within the trough. Of making this economy at the domestic borrowing. We need to look at borrowing. We need to look at economies. Pump money in small microeconomies. And we broaden our way of country. But if we have to, even the bread now must, and basically all households, including myself, so to feed our people. So this is going to be the lowest web that is going to frustrate the hustlers, because now they're opened by people who have no jobs, jobs for our people. It is a way in this country, including the rural, close our M-Pesa by bill and till, because the KRA are on them. So M-Pesa, I think this is now why now the guys. Yes. So to me, a tragedy. Advisor need to rethink about taxation. They must think erasing the economy of. Look at the collection of the KRA. They have not been able, I think, trillion. They have missed their target. This high taxation, what about if it was lower? Because some people are closing businesses, but business guys are running because of the high taxation. What we are is too high. So we need to about this as a country. We help the country to grow. We do not muzzle private enterprises. It's because we want to tax and there is raising the money.
Yes, we are still going to after the break. So This is Good Morning Kenya.
Mpenzi mtazamaji KBC Channel 1.
Over the years, front of broadcast trends of news, entertainment, and sports.
Thank you for joining us.
You have the power to broadcaster to the top. KBC Channel 1 has been nominated of the Year category in the 7th ICT Awards.
Favorite TV
via SMS, simply use the 5601 and follow cost, or visit www.co.ke and follow the to vote. KBC Channel watching.
Unanishika mkono unanivuruta hapa.
Ni mgono lichileta nilikuwa nikushike mguu.
No, anda swekra. Kesho niko hapa leo si pita tu hapa.
Tunakuimbia lala baya ukilala. We are that very very serious.
Suburia sana.
Suburia itaendaje peke yake? Kuna shida. Nini inaendelea hapa? What is going down? Leo nimekupata.
Sikia hiyo kinuka mauta.
Topo na chuo umekula sawa baya.
And my baby problems, but we always work them out. Things change. Sunrise, this is the last time. This time I made up my mind, oh yeah. You're my favorite. You bring such joy to me. Tell me I'm your girl. Even though you broke and I tears flowing from my heart.
Always a welcome back to Good Morning. The highlights of the finance bill. The things highlighted here is the banking services, tax on foreign import on declaration fee % to 3%. Actually, is the increase of bread, which means if the tax proposed by the Treasury, you could be having, you will cost, and also more to a maximum of, and also duty up. And Mr. Wademba, does this the hustler narrative?
Going by what we government had set up raising their taxes, 2.6 billion, and they did not even meet that target. The measures that are will also not expected returns.
Yes.
government needs to is what we do the same thing and expect different. We need to reorganize in terms of our thinking of how the economy of this country.
Yes.
Taxes, increasing the number of people who are and lowering it at the same time so that they participate in terms of the and contribute in small numbers towards the measures being the same kind of measures that were brought last year. Much change. Is they strangled the economy, they went low, the flow of the market went low. Performance of the Nairobi Stock Exchange, the activity in other local markets.
Yes.
The other people are not able to do as much. People are on their mobile platform because the money is not there. Loans. If you look at the banks, the non-performing piling up. The high. Everybody is avoiding borrowing, are surrendering their assets. Don't continue incurring that heavy. To ask ourselves where things right. And I think the challenge we have who are advising this, not listening to what the situation is. The situation on the ground is much different there until the head of state. Of state look at the situation by the people on the ground and understand it. If you look at the time when over, he was able to come to the Socio-Economic Council, and it who are very much experienced the public service, private sector, people who are very rich in history of IMF, in Africa development, position in government, in the private. All that experience together, tell him this is the area we can touch. For example, there was what we call package.
Yeah.
And they was so that they were putting money, for example, in agriculture, and you could that investment. Right now, we have said levy. What is the impact of that here, so that we can say it is a. We started with the in December 1st of 2022. That 500 shilling we put there, helping us. We are not looking at what we are putting. We are just trying to create things, and we are not even parts of those things. We need to really we do. What value does it bring? Putting more resources in it, or for another strategy, and interact ourselves with the ground. The situation on the ground is like this. Be able to give them so they can bring value.
Yeah. Mheshimiwa, speak to this, how it's going to impact the environment, even for the person at the.
Now, obviously, the idea is it is about increasing the areas.
Yeah.
In VAT on bread and all that. Impact will the ramification the small person. When it came to power, something like that economic stimulus, the SMEs that they were emphasizing, economic businesses, they began giving funds to the hustlers. So it was not sustained took it. Some of them, majority did not, they did not invest. So it is waste. It is on anything. We expect that in the near these hustlers, they will be great hustlers. They will have nowhere to turn to, because these taxes, those are the hustlers. In Turkana, when the revenue collect tax in the lake, the fight there was big. They really fought. So counties are training revenue to be like policemen. They take the army guys, governing revenue by force. Government that is forcing collect revenue. When you go to UK, people will pay their taxes without. The first thing they will pay is because they will have the kids will go to school free. Working, you will have a stipend every month. Government will take care of you. Seeing that the tax we are paying, economic impact on people living there, and this happens in even the US and all those Japan, all that. To Kenya, we pay tax. School are supposed to be free. Secondary school, that is what is called. Yeah. Secondary school, we don't have people. So, and we expect to have housing. How yet you are going to pay per month 20,000. Let's say minimum, but there's no house for 20 houses. There are 35,000. How is it going to be affordable by living in Kibra? Affordable to them. Do we have of resources? Use these resources to spark economy first and expand the economy. We had the youth funds. They've only given it once, and it is not much. We have ways of fund. Give to people loans. You return without being extra money on it. So programs that are rich there, they can use this to, but this money is down to the people down there. It's up here, the used up here, it does not go down. The economy is going to grow worse to, I don't know, bad to worse. A time that we are economy of this country, because one, we are a collection. Two, we are going to budget for this country. We cannot collect this deficit that is remaining, finance it. It means World Bank, we are going to look for our fill the, but how are we going to pay? We're going to fail. So what we must critically look at the state of the people. A meal in a day. Not to afford a meal even. So we are going to have a people that economy, they do not have the energy for the economy. So we need to relook. It is going to come into the floor of the house for it. We always, the minority will have a say, but way we will be there. on this, and they will see really those and those who are against them.
Yes.
I think that
now the financial saying it is going to give Revenue Authority exempted from access in areas private data. They will have powers to compare, to produce statements of financial dealings. The aspect of data, what is your feeling about unfettered access to financial data of people, telcos?
You see, one country lacks, rich country. We are resources, and culture is one of. And one of the things that comes with people knowing what I'm doing,
yes,
following my money.
Yes.
If I do business with you, and I have and believe that the bank will not anyone.
Yes.
So when there is privacy, you will in terms of the economic activities. Want to go. We don't want to handle or paying through them. We'll find less bank deposits in the banks because now the money in their house will probably continue. Visibility in terms of it will not be there. Have a very serious I guess the government is setting because how much money you're, and at the point where you transact, they also, but now there's, so the government will lose both in targeting from the transaction, how much money people have. We need to really weigh, do we really want to getting some of, what is the value that it will bring in? I see a possibility to go to court to fight this. It matters that Kenyans are definitely, there'll be a matter probably if Parliament is not able to protect us. Shimiwa and others will fight of every Kenyan. We pride ourselves being, and when some are taken away, we cannot. So we really trust that of this country, this data that we, and it should not be available to even in other pay taxes. They don't go to where they do business. It is a possibility to pay taxes, but they trust and they have institutions to make sure that what pay as taxes, it is here is that we don't trust institutions. It is not being run. When our money is collected, we can see floods come. We don't. For us, when we buy find fake, so we don't have trust. Election is very expensive. So can the government focus on building trust? People will pay taxes. We transform taxes 4 times military, so without using force words, and he was able to build trust and responsible.
Yeah. So Kenyans want to responsibly.
You cannot say it better.
Yes.
I would say that biopic and the unity of these economies that the government. It cannot be gainsaid that when we intrude the privacy of all citizens of their economic wealth, their bank accounts, actions, that now know that enables the to intrude into accounts has been very, very liberal. And this is what makes a better country than any other, almost any. When you travel all over the world, best countries, but we are going to that do not have trust. We must up of trust deficit. A big thing when us as MPs, if they have trust in you, they will only go home. So trust amongst them. So this country must make people feel are there for them. They are there for the people to feel the promises that you to power. They must be making efforts to fulfill. In my mind, I made promises, ability to fulfill the promises. If the CDF they bring billion bursaries to add and fair. If it is have done 14, if it is this, see that our promises, and this is what government now must make it to the hustler. They are, because they promise they is a government that are going to be. Yes. Please point for me. Even me, I'm not. My level are not there. So we us in this government. So it's everybody else. And while you are that brought you to examine this. So for Parliament, I know they to, and we have a say on it. Yes. Law is an us. They are the people. They have forgotten where. They don't remember that once. But now, because they are in, they want to load it off hustlers. Refocus. If we don't refocus, I will come back here and you have to in this country. Yeah, it will slide to. Kenya has been a very stable that you cannot compare our economy, be it Tanzania, be it Uganda. We have a very stable economy. Our is now going to be compared.
I can talk about a story about revenue allocation. The deputy president yesterday was calling for fair distribution based on population. What is your feeling about that? It's because it's on one month.
You know, there is one man.
Yes.
And there is anyone behind.
Yes.
So, say we are all going to one man. There are some part of this country because for many not enjoyed the some regions have in terms of prosecute this matter.
Yes.
Support the some of the challenge in some of the constitutions you can find it is really challenging. I can called Bahati.
Yes.
And in Nakuru County we have which are really you have another constituency like but when you give those amount of money in terms of CDV, not being fair.
Yes.
But then has been left out of the time. So therefore they to the same level as Naivasha. And it's we interrogate this issue, recognize that they have been left behind for so also need to invest so that they can be. Example is when World War II, advantage to the rest of countries.
Yes.
They were devastated. America said, if nation, how are we going to allow the rest of our put a lot of money in you level where they would be able to produce in terms of cars and today America is great.
Yes.
So even us as a happy to be from a rich group, but I can also do in Marsabit, in Marral, living in Kileleshwa, and my Kibra are suffering. Kibra to also be in a can meet somewhere for a drink, and so we cannot live in.
Are you saying now I cannot buy you a drink?
Mheshimiwa, the you are, the more taxes you pay, calls for more population. What is your feeling about
It's pronouncement? And say, when you look at the census, stand corrected. By 10 never had the proper census. Who were in this country? When you have the Mulembe nation, they were saying people as people. When you have the Oria, they are also saying now, biggest. My Mount Kenya people, they are also the numbers. So the census of this country, I think, has been manipulated to suit the interests of certain communities. And to determine we allocate resources, but also they have only had the privilege to be the. It means that have been places. In fact, education should be to the developed, like the less developed you have, so that you can compare with other communities. Far end of Kwale, Dingo, you cannot also are a part of this country. So if you already have a structure, economic growth, what assist even as a deep country, a country for you go to your locality or make such enunciations without thinking of the other parts of the for you. Are you being leader of this country? So at steps and those, and I think as parliamentarians, those who deputy president.
Yes. Was that a debate unfold? You go without giving your party? You, Mheshimiwa.
Of course, say hi to the people of Kilra. You made me be here. But I want, we have always say this, Kibra, we only And I want to say it again, the duty to ensure that the main road in Kivu. What I want to say today, I want to thank you for this debate.
Thank you so much also for just to call on Kenya. We be vigilant of the. We need to participate in this bill and make sure these are hard. I just want to call on to them. Also be vigilant in making sure are hard, and we don't have where the Kenyans stand in terms of finance bill. We were not. We had to waste a lot of time going to court, and the country was. The finance bill, it is passed. We activities of the country. Thank you so much.
Time. That is the political analyst and also Muheshi for Kibra. This is as Eye on Politics. My go too far. Vivian will be right staying with us. Enjoy the rest.
On KBC channel, TV station like no other. Get a entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
The passion. That you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
Oh, that's all you.
Experience.
Who is the man in this one?
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani.
Move to
from Broadcasting House.
Best happenings. K. We are the full package. Kenya's watching. Technology part of our society. With so much of our everyday life different. As technology has to fulfill the changing needs. This means the technology, the things that we want about it. Looks at the advantages of technological innovation in a world increasingly dependent on new digital. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
Are you a talented artist? It's about a topic you want to discuss. Money can be becoming artist. Radio Mashinani has got your back. .co.ke music and video. The country work on your music, spoken words, and even realize your dream. Free Studio Mashinani.
In the field of intelligence, commonly known as headlines over the last years, artificial intelligence is to make machines and perform human-like.
What artificial intelligence is to understand how the way humans learn.
Having this human intelligence embedded in it, and then it's actually now able to definitely using now the complex algorithm.
What AI is, it's beings have existed, we've been towards an assistant, or so we've actually always.
Artificial intelligence today, but the term in the 1950s. Improvement storage are among the features of remarkable evolution.
When I was 12 years old, I didn't, but it was an old that had an AI called chatbot. You know, the way now we use chat.
Animal intelligence are among other. This begs the question, how from other intelligences?
The AI bit of it, actually intelligence that has been built. So we're talking about the complexities of algorithms.
The use of AI in the data to efficiency through analysis for informed decisions, medical diagnosis, among other benefits.
Artificial intelligence helps. This is a machine that doesn't need sleep, only needs electricity.
Not really trying, it's actually doing.
Artificial intelligence does. It can work day and night, meaning at night it could be new kinds of money for
helping us.
With many have used at cutting edge in problem solving and e-commerce.
If you think today, a border actually able to, you know, it's much easier because they are using Google.
There's a lot going on farming bit. So we have this, they call agricultural officer. Tell someone, oh, texture is like this.
Anybody who's been using Tala or Branch or Mshwari today is with AI in some form or other. Done anything on or Facebook, then you've interacted.
The United States is currently AI race with dollars investment. Kenya is also on the
government that is already doing the things.
What I do appreciate about the Kenyan government, really focusing its ICT strategy, more people in digital, right? Not and then be able to.
We need infrastructure, right? You need, right? We are doing a lot. Thermal, electricity, wind, so we can have a lot of renewable. Because AI is essential power. You know, your centers which store data.
Its enormous benefits. Big data, the surrounded with myths and misconceptions. Different opinions, the effects it has on human labor.
Would say things such as to take a job, that it's not AI that's the person who learns how to use probably going to take up a job because they're going to be
unemployment. But in a recent study It showed that AI Africa 1% of jobs, increased jobs by 16%.
Actually depending on humans. Are we actually like giving out? Saying no, let's see. Let's future. I'm not saying that it's going to like it's going to actually, but for now we can actually see working with humans. AI is actually giving out the data.
Possibility of AI. The question still remains. Strategy to ensure one or her job to AI.
Upskill yourself. Are AI. Go and learn them. Go and download ChatGPT. Sign up for it. Go and Meta. Create some content for you. Play with it. Create. So really, it's about people and upskilling themselves. So they're free. A lot of them are free. You don't have to go. It's free. All you're paying for.
We are in a space where this particular technology just do is embrace.
My is that we really our governments have a continue empowering people. We have a great opportunity on the continent to be able to and to use it secure, but to become a healthier nation and to improve the world enough.
Thank you. Is Vivian Degwa, and from there we get into an important conversation, and that is and climate. Did you know quality is the second Africa after non-communicable? I thought you should know. So we definitely have this conversation and join, diverge, and get in this conversation on air quality is Dr. Beth Verify, right? She is a tall expert, and we all Njogu, a researcher at. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
On the show today. Now, as I air quality, or rather, is the leading cause, the second leading death in, what is the connection, first of all, and climate?
All right. Thank you very much. Your show between climate change, in the sense what causes climate change, are causing climate gases that when we measure are joined together. If you look at the gases, we have the carbon dioxide, the oxide, all these are also part of quality. So they have when you're talking about air and climate change. Air pollution because people always assume that see. Everyone can see, but the danger without us knowing that we actually the air pollution. 6 million people annually. Every year we have
the globe
close and Africa bears the big 6 million because related there and how it's affecting their health. Now when you now come to climate change, equalizing everything because we've seen the floods, we have droughts that we've seen, of cyclones, hurricanes. These are part and parcel of the climatic hazards that we will also address the issue of climate.
And Dr. Climate or poor air quality.
Thank you for joining us in the show. Issue of air quality, maybe I can just add some. He has said it's reported that it's occur every year, and air pollutants are like because there are those air, and they end up in some of the health impacts that we have include respiratory health, mainly up in our lungs. Sometimes when you go to a environment, you get headaches, irritation. Sometimes you get irritated. People start coughing, sneezing. Then we also have in the extreme events, you have extreme pollution. Even have miscarriages taking place. There is very little documentation of between the health impact and sometimes when people fall sick, other causes. But we have to know when we walk around. We also have emissions in. That is something maybe that, like you'll find some people to cook like fuels like kerosene. A house where kerosene is being used. Informal sectors, the ventilation is very poor. Pollutants accumulate and some of like 10 times what we expect. We also note that we stay in the house for we sleep 8 hours. So during that period, but mainly the impacts will depend on who is the children, the old, and they actually are at a bigger risk. The immune system. One of the extreme is cancer. Of cancer cases around. Every village. Settlement in our city, you find people. In some incidences, working with plastics. It is very toxic chemicals, toxins and furans. Suspected carcinogens. They are proven that once you inhale them in your body, and over time, levels that have the effects. Some of these conditions are irreversible. Basically, there is a lot of to do with health. Of course, we have other environmental effects. The climate change, mainly caused. The greenhouse gases are those gases that are able to the infrared radiation or the heat. They absorb the heat from the environment and slightly above at what we call the If we were talking about science, So these gases now, if you look at the trends, like culprit, CO2. If you look at the trends of CO2, revolution, had a lot of atmosphere, and the more CO2 you have, trapping of the heat. It means warming is actually enhanced.
From what you've said, you are actually attributed to
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the major
Well, I Dr. Njogwa had when we have vehicular bringing old cars, we never service to emit as much, but now coming to the ground, we have plastics that we are burning. Settlements, we have this the way by according to NEM regulations, it's burning at home and all. It is you do it. So when you now burn, there are also things that we call, they start affecting our health. That open burning, we have, I think we also need to start checking burning of the tires. It is business we are doing, but it's air pollution. Then we have the medical waste. The hospitals in Kenya, most of them standardized in the way they will waste. The medical affects our air pollution. Yeah, in our space, because most hospitals don't have that. Then have the issue of the generated, the landfills. By the time you're at roundabout, I think it's all soaps. Smell from this landfill to affect you. Sources of air pollution is also the indoor. There is out. When you look now at the indoor, kerosene or the paraffin, which banned completely because it has bad effects on the people. To have the charcoal or the wood that they're using well ventilated, then it becomes air pollution because it kills.
Now, on the indoor, some of the how does it concerns, what issues for those who are watching and probably are you? Why would you say that you would ban?
Yes, what hell the sad bit about air pollution, we don't see it. What is so harmful? So when you inhale the paraffin, impact on you, so it keeps congesting your lungs, feeling chest pain, having difficulty breathing. What measure air pollution in terms of so when that particulate matter within the paraffin, that emission in the paraffin is what affects you. So particulate matter, what we call PM5. Now this paraffin is well refined for you. So you, and how many homes have that open out there? So it's not possible. It affects your lungs, difficulty in breathing. Most they're telling you is like you want to associate it with pneumonia, but pneumonia is what you've been inhaling, well ventilated. So charcoal, if it is from the charcoal that itself, because it's you have the work that you're busy, you know, the 3 stone that the one they use with the is also in really affects your lungs. So if we could, it makes it much better.
What are the alternatives?
The alternative, I think, when we talk about improved cook stoves, working on the carbon monoxide, the carbon that we are inhaling. We have some of the stoves that are being run. Hopefully, biogas, if we are able to together, we can use biogas because it's friendly to the environment. It's also green. The LPG is can be able to afford the gas. Then it would really save.
Individually take action, so, you know, just to improve the air.
Thank you. Answer that one. I would like to add something on what discussing.
Sure.
Kerosene is actually the same as burning because chemically they are the same. The kind of houses we see when the informal settlements in a 10 by 10, even if you have windows, you cannot leave them. Security issues. So those that are a result of that burning, they. Then we have what also we call the. There are some of those things that just evaporate form and you can inhale them. That when they enter your lungs, turn back into liquid, like gases or in vapor form. Benzene is also found in the industries. So you find some of the fuel. Maybe the other one is carbon monoxide. Kills so are not reported. I remember correction not long ago. The informal settlements are not. And when we went there, we were told that some 3 people died. And because they thought that GICO, the GICO. And you see now carbon monoxide is actually one of that burning because the combustion was going to be complete. You would release the carbon monoxide is able it gets into the blood to carry oxygen. So from lack of oxygen, asphyxiation or something like that. The solution, you have asked that. I think encourage the uptake the stoves. That is one. Make LPG affordable from trees, the charcoal, because you know the firewood again climate change, because it means we are cutting our. And you see forests are the best in terms of change because they take a lot of CO. Would be, I don't know how that can be achieved, but the engineers can. That helps them now to be able to remove now the in the house. So about how the individuals can the individuals take. Maybe when climate change, our individual matter so much. We do on a daily basis individually. There is what we call the carbon dioxide footprint. And I would calculate that. The individual is the amount of CO2 from the king, the fuel when you are traveling. Even these clothes. energy is burnt. So that
Okay, I'll
if the
ask
people
you to just hold that thought and continue with that.
Okay.
Let's take a break.
As long me, I don't mind. Came in with taking a shower, you'll not be to say. Are you saying I don't shower?
That you should disappear from this have to for all of them wait. Find another seat.
Now, some of the worst day of your pathetic.
Please don't frighten us again.
And I will say, because I'm about to sue your thugs over stupid.
Is this true?
Thank you for staying with us. Before we took that break, explaining to us how in improving the air.
for that, the individual on actually contribute a lot of the environment that and pollute the air. So basically, things lifestyle changes can also impact so much to emissions. One of the things been proven to work in other countries, or maybe when you ride, when you walk, you that would have been released from fuel burning by the vehicles. Simple actions. Let us stop burning. Because we have a dump site, let us take all our waste. Let's not burn them in the open. If you go to there is a small fire. One time, the incidences of fire burning in our city is rampant. Contributes a lot to air pollution. We can take measures that prevent that. We can actually do recycling of some of those waste. Just recycle them, maybe to make other products, materials. The other one is I think in Kenya that is going on, so to be very good in terms of climate. Of course, the sun can tap into that one. I also want last week on Friday we had a day where Kenyans planted trees. I don't know yourself. That is a getting action because our mentor, Professor Agari, the trees are the best approach of the climate change. If you remember the simple photos, I think we did it in secondary school or somewhere, the carbon dioxide and the reactions in the to carbon dioxide, to carbohydrate. Storage is a permanent kind of a storage. For forests, if we can have, if we can be able to plant, really help. Actually, I visited one country some Finland, the tree cover was about, because what Finland does, space, they plant. Sometimes you don't even see the. I think in Kenya we have a lot of empty space. We can plant a lot of trees. The Friday activity was actually the second one, is it?
That was the second one.
That's a good step the government is doing. Enlighten the ones who are in school today. That's a good thing. The other one would be of electric vehicles. I know we have a discussion on e-mobility. Trying to introduce motorcycles. Is going to help us mitigate. Like we have said, it's just a lifestyle change. Awareness. I thank KBC because if the people will know that what they are doing is, they'll actually change that. It's something. Now where we are seeing extreme weather, flooding, when we have drought, very severe. So these are going to be. The world should prepare this because of the way we have dealt with to have so many of these events. I presentations by a researcher who has done a lot. And he was saying that the young ones will see 7 times more than what their parents saw. Even our country, probably we need now ages, we could see the kind of flooding change. And we can only take actions to reduce that in terms of that mitigation. Also requires to be done, and especially because even if the government does so much, without change, then it will just be useless. The other thing is maybe also the plastic bags, and the papers that are used to carry solid waste to recyclable materials. So those actions are actually going to help us mitigating.
And one of the solutions and the emissions we get from transportation, that is, what other suitable solutions are there in transportation? You talked about the motorcycles that are. What may be other solutions?
Other suitable options is go to developed cities, you'll find they have the that ply the cities. People like in Japan, they have very so many people. In Kenya, I think people to the city and takes them back.
Yes.
Just looking by it, you can see spots. So system, like I know the government will introduce the tram. I don't know how we went into the 14-seaters, the 10-seaters, the 7. We have so many of these, we have a lot of emissions. Some years back, we had KBS that used to carry like passengers. So if we can have that mass be able to mitigate, maybe because we check on the emissions because emit so much, because it's not very good, and also even the way if the industry can servicing their vehicles, and one of it is that those vehicles for long distances, maybe to Kisumu, to Nyahururu, those long distances, when they get old, when they are not able to, they come back to the city from point A to point B, maybe kilometers. So that means we have here. if you go to the PSV vehicles that transport people, they are very new. But when you come, this is like is it the resting mode? So I think also the traffic police, also traffic department also needs to look into that. So I'm aware that the government is also coming testing on vehicles. So that is also going to help. There are some vehicles that will not be allowed to enter the do not meet that requirement for us to cut the emissions.
Okay.
Then also, if you look at, for example, Thika Road, very often you find there are so many vehicles and so also carpool coming from one estate and you are 10 of you use common transport.
Yeah, I don't know how. I get you.
Yeah. That's a bit, I don't know,
yeah.
But if we can cut emissions, you can imagine 10 people, and the same 10 people could have been transported, maybe a Nissan or a Vox. So that can help us to cut the emissions.
All right. Really, explain to us justice.
Okay. Get to answer that. There are some Dr. Njogu has said the issue of electric. We are energy poor where we are at. It's not that we are of energy that is reliable. And then the kind of infrastructure electric cars has not. So which is easier to or to build a new? So what we have is ensure vehicles that are more in the country. Electric waste. We have no clear as at now to explain how we will. Electric cars or this, their biggest is the issue of e-waste. This electric for more than 5 years, so we don't on whether we are the issue of emissions from the.
Okay.
So we take time and see what, even the way the will this e-mobility, how will they manage our terrain? The terrains that we have for Africa really up e-vehicles. I have it on the same. So we can, yes, it's not. But what I would agree with, transport. But a little girl then, yes, yeah, and good system where you'd get and it changes circuit. So if you were to take you to Kariobangi, I think it takes you to Huruma. The buses were working, and when you wait 15 minutes, there's an and it went on so well. When I got here, but what I visioned was that so they didn't get to also corruption, embezzlement. PBS had a circuit that we have, if they can a lot of efficiency in terms of the public transport. When you enter, matatus never clean their matatus. So you pick, they get home, even if you sunscreen to them, they eat it to really get rid of them. Big roaches that you go with to the office, people don't make clean, but you picked it up from the public. They are cleaning up. I think I've heard of Metro has been cleaning. If we can all work on their cleanliness, and many people would not be using their cars. able to organize themselves, having the city transport that is, then would reduce the, have my car, my child has a car on the road. Public transport. Bogotá has done it, headed in the right direction. They actually comes to the public transport. Ask me about environmental justice. This one, because it touches on the very things that, how do we make sure the mass, yeah? If you look at the, Dr. Njogu were collecting, the people from up would take their waste because they can pay a little fee. People left to deal with that waste in the informal settlements. They don't have the capacity, capital as well, to deal with that, and they have nothing to do. The environmental justice. It's not now the things we are seeing. Almost more than 50 or 60 in my backyard. So someone would, their suburban, go and dump their waste in the ghetto. So my backyard. And they started clamoring for environmental justice. And part of environmental justice also the climate. We've seen a whole family have lost their life in one night. So who will pay them? Pay them. The people who are dying that we dump for how medical waste should do. There were different documents. We had people in the dump site in the. We are not supposed to of waste in such a dump site. These people were exposed to COVID. I mean, unconsciously, because someone has no. How will they get that justice? So that's why, and it still is. We are, as much as you want to, much of it is going to affect the. So that is where it's coming from. It is growing because we are saying how much I saw carrying his lifeless daughter. That man, yeah, the one who is wealth flattened the mud and the soil. How the people who are living right now in rescue centers, how much money? The previous drought cost this close to $6 yeah, in the how many the social impact for the people in who lost everything, how much to equate when we are saying the loss. The environmental justice is growing. We have right now, we are talking about in Kwale County. What is I had the gentleman who was underdeveloped Kwale is. Nuclear plant. Are we really being, is it really worth having social living? We talk about the renewable energy. How many Kenyans are kind of biogas digesters to have that biogas? It is their right because it doesn't affect the environment. But yeah, which policies have we put in place? Greened Uhuru Park. I'm sure if in here right now should really be having a fee for a green space. But what green for grey? We need these green spaces for people to have their peace. Yeah, not Nairobi a grey city, and so the environmental justice starts with that for the mass, the right things, and we are not spoiling.
Okay, we now understand what environment is about. Now statistics show 50, 60 population will be in city. How does urban development affect quality, and how will that affect our as a nation in Kenya?
I saw the program that was
last week.
Yes, I'm hoping that having that particular within that document, I haven't read the document, so I justice to it. They could share it. It doesn't have a key issue of air pollution. They call it a warning to do that. I'll give you an example. Look at the initial plans of how Nairobi was for Nairobi. Is not what we have today. Grouped, it was grouped where there'll be residential, what we have done over the years, you go to the region where you have South, all the way to Mlolongo, that was meant to zone. But we have, and we have residences. That place, that's already, because the level of air pollutants is good, because you're competing. Then everywhere an upcoming well to also have a welcoming. So the people in the informal settlement report that was done, that we have 68% residents living in informal settlement have a clear plan on how to make a huge component. It is not a joke. So if all the has 10 million, do the math, more than in the informal settlement. So if we don't plan for that, so that what are we calling urbanization? The definitions of what we are calling urbanization. Is it more buildings or what? So if you look at the Machakos master, they have a small area, very small. Everything is industrial. But there is no part. We need these green spaces for people to live. If I was to redo Nairobi's planning, all the 17 green space, a public one. We have Karura and you enjoy. That our buildings are green, you know. We make sure working, the water is not drinking water to wash cars. And yeah, we can recycle this water, wash these cars, and clean water for these things. So we have green space and manage our waste. They say about 60% generate is biodegradable. Make compost, organic fertilizer, a whole circular way of doing things. All these plastics everywhere. We make lifestyle changes. He's talking about how do you follow your waste? Yeah, asking people, how do you follow your waste? I normally ask them, well, who is carrying? Where is it? Show me, because there has to be documentation. This waste is managed, and all of them have an issue with waste management. To start planning populist way, but planning the green, and it's all counties. Yeah. Development.
Are there quality that you feel are particular at the moment, Dr. Njogu?
There has been an increase in the number of in our city, and It's actually now becoming, we have now more emissions. We have increased the rate of added that waste management realm, because it tries to ban, especially when you go to putting the waste together and like a lot of pollution. Recent studies of air quality levels are, in fact, Nairobi is becoming the WHO standards, although, but they are good because the WHO worked on models to the impact on human health and so on. I think our condition well because we have a lot of those two activities. Then we have industries. NEMA, the National Environmental Management, is actually now doing monitoring of the air. Even as that is happening, you mentioned that Nairobi City County of their medical, they allocate for medical and even medicine and all, 35% of infections. And this are actually blamed to pollution. Is that now we are eating process. We are now bringing the effect is now eating into our budgets that we have, but outside there, has actually come up with they have an Air Quality Act, a Clean Air Action Plan. Very soon they will be rolling out, so that in real time you can be able that this side is so polluted. Data in real time. I think they are going to use so that you can know this side is polluted, the other. Then you can also decide where to buy the plot. In the house, nice. Then you can decide, okay, better. So you move that. I know it is going to have a bit of economic data, but it is very good because ask ourselves, where is this pollution? I'm also happy that in Nairobi we have they have Catalyst project. My friend Dr. Mwaniki and I, in terms of quantify coming from the various sources. She mentioned vehicular emissions, hospital, the burning of hospital waste, menace, because you find most of our what they call the requirements. There is very black smoke. And actually the mitigation of that would be of a small device to that. So kind of a study which is actually a very good thing for the study that is the first in Africa. The project will be around for around 4 years. We will have gained a lot in terms of one of the things that also limits of the analysis. Yeah, expensive, so that you find invested more in wastewater analysis. So much. So many labs do a lot of environmental sectors like soils. There are just a few people who are doing it. The medical bill is increasing. There's the young people, regions in Nairobi that have been mapped. We have seen very high pollution levels. A belt next to each one, but in those facilities neighboring visits are actually, and that can be blamed on air. Previously, I think maybe when we used to have a lot of ears and so on. So those ones now overtaken by the lungs, the chest. People are coughing. If you go, you find those they are called that open the cough syrups. Yeah, the cough syrup. And the reason is just because of the pollution. The linkage. We had a discussion with, and we were asking ourselves. Any post-mortem report indicated that the cause. So our doctors, they always tell you it is the lungs, it is the heart that failed. Why? The things we are inhaling. It's a very funny thing because to the city you find people carrying water. Kind of water you want to drink. So you want to take Kerrigat, the other person says, I want Dasani. What happens to the air? Is the small person, they have no choice. So when the air is polluted, it's actually affecting everyone. So we should be urgent, cleaning the we do because of the impacts. And like in the primary schools that we have in the city, I wish a study can be done to, I know they are done, that have shown that those young highly exposed. They show that even the IQ reduces.
By air quality?
Yes, yes, yeah. The air quality, the brain development. So, not talking about, but they are very, they are, it is not just the science that we talk about that have been proven. Laboratory experiments and even this. Yeah.
Yeah. Do policy makers play air quality, and are their policies effective this far?
I think Nairobi at least is a pioneer on that. Members too, we are technical committee members. Helps because everybody was waiting to, black hair when we're, but with that and educating people, looks like, then they started the gap that exists even by data. We don't only giving approximate what would be. Yeah, we haven't like conclusive solution is causing this. More clear data. Inhaling vehicular, you have a chest problem or you have a, then I can't make a decision. Makers hide behind the idea. Most of them don't really have in that what air pollution is. When we started the sensitization, if people, you see, we've been talking about the number, but the worst of all, 5. So if you at the community level, is when you inhale 2.5 for a very long time, and lung, and that who is a smoker lung than that of a smoker. To 10 cigarettes you smoke at one time. That's PM2 lungs. I think we have all other policies, soil, anything, but not. I always ask myself, when to die of COVID, today we have COVID masks, and thank God we had. If you now combine that with air pollution, because the air pollution, lungs have no transplant. take care of our lungs, the better. So, COVID protocols, but we are not willing to have policies to put in place. Then the ones we have, we are not even, because when we of transitioning to, it is in the environment of 2019. Yeah. If KPLC decides to put us in, then I should have an alternative. We started a long time ago, but how much? Because if we can have a place of reducing and also the outdoor. But in terms of policy nationally, members of parliament to really consider people. Yeah? We only lost approximately 5 million people globally. Million every year worth having, and even having a put in place docket to a, it's not a by the way. You know, we always dark air. It doesn't have to look that way. And it's even within the because we can look at the government, but also how are you dealing with the issue? Say the offices, because of that kind of vehicular emission, green, you know, ensure to reduce the pollution. I'm sure if we did a proper research, we'd 5 years, if there are HR have offices near roads or people have started getting and treating asthma is not cheap. Complained about their chest, they're getting. Others are talking about the ENT. They have irritating eyes. Some are getting the diseases that they never had, causing infertility. We need to do that kind of research for us to. This is it. But before we do that research, our own indoor policies to help us make sure we are air pollution.
Come to a close of this conversation. I know that Iceland put up a factory, you know, and it is the world. Is that something to look at? Help those around the.
I think it's like jumping the cut. It's like cut. Where we are, I believe we can, because our individual is what is causing here. To agree, because the IPC change, the 6th Assembly said we are the reason that. So imagine it's taken as that the reason there is climate change. To manage our air pollution by first us educated you, because when you are aware of decisions, impacts, because when you continue, is what happens. The impacts are there. We may not be able to get that kind of. We're already competing in terms of people, the populace that we have. Nairobi in another 2050, we'll be talking that people have come to Nairobi, but I'm of a different opinion. Come to Nairobi on Saturday, yeah, in the afternoon, yeah, going to their room. Exactly where are they going? If we are all going to be a conversation we need to have, but this number of people in this, then we have to really change. the public transport. Yeah, I don't have to drive my get to my place, then why not?
I'll have to thank you so much for great. Thank you so much for shedding light on this very Dr. Paul Njogu, Dr. Thank you, and we hope to have you back here. I hope that you have taken two things from this conversation, and the main one is a personal thing. We should action to ensure that we reach solution around around where we stand. And this is where we call it a wrap. My name is Vivian Ndegwa. Thank you so much. Till tomorrow, do enjoy the rest of your view.
Demanding in a lot of ways a mother's life. Females face agonizing decisions about children or waiting to start a family. Doubts, both internal and external, form after having a child.
A big challenge for me, but I am a go-getter, so it meant being
back to training. It was really hard, and there were a lot of, so that's why I didn't make it to the team.
Celebrated, women are still challenging their children and playing professional sports.
Nje unawacha mfanyakazi mtoto akulelea muda wa wiki ama siku. So maybe wakati unapokuwa uko nje akoje, anaendelea aje, feel poor. So that's the uko nje but hauko comfortable.
That you should not be because of sports and such a thing. I was a very good striker, by the way, and I'm working my way back there.
Some of care for their children, and this helps the hood.
Alinisukuma sana tutakuwa na chance. Wakati wewe uko na training ya national, wakati yako na training ya national team, mimi nabaki na tulisaidiana kabisa.
I still want to see myself motivating others and being that bank.
We do fitness, not everything, so that makes me come back. Yeah.
Pregnancy is wonderful, but for the body of professional athletes is and exhausting.
I have more. I can't really keep tabs, but to those ladies, please stop the fear. It's doable. About planning yourself.
Practice, I make time to team members, and still I have a baby, a child that needs my attention.
Wa talenta yako. Wa talenta yako. Unaweza fika hapo. Itakutegemea zako na ile bidii na discipline ya mazoezi yako.
Sports women who are mothers, highly different with the simple
City Park. I'm going to play a game and they're all there. So proud.
When the baby is there in the hands and screaming out, "Mommy, keep see you, Mommy!" Yeah, she may not understand whether it's you've been scored, but just the sound and the such a big motivator.
Those that come along, these women advocacy they need, and their wins is equally.
Sports give me I'm still into it. So the more I also to go higher in the department.
Have not called it quits even to motherhood. In fact, once another responsibility.
Unacheza ili waone, na pia the young girls who are coming up. Of them wana akipata mimba kuisha. It's not the end, beginning.
Happy Mother's Day to all women on Channel 1.
Mpenzi mtazamaji KBC Channel 1.
Over the years, front of broadcast, best of news, entertainment, and
thank you for joining us.
You have the perfect broadcaster to the top. KBC Channel 1 has been TV Station of the Year category of the Kuza ICT Award. Vote for KBC via SMS, simply 15601, no cost, or visit www.words.co.ke and follow options to vote. KBC watching.
Shika mkono na nivuruta hapa.
Ati ni mgono ilichileta, nilikuwa nikushige mguu.
Anda swekra. Kesho niko hapa leo. Kesho utapita tu hapa.
Tunakuimbia lullaby. We are that very very serious.
Sufuria sana.
Sufuria itaendaje peke?
Huku
kuna shida. Nini naangalia? Muichi.
Kia hapa chini. Unasikia hiyo kinuka?
Ole matopo na chume.
Hello, it's a 77%. We are Youth. I'm Wanjiko Mora, and it's be your host. In Johannesburg, restoring the reputation of the Ponte in together. Edith Kimani asks the youth how they're running high. And speaking of running, champions Eldoret.